So now we're all on ecstasy and the music starts, but now it's a different kind of fucking music.
Hey, Mr. John McAfee. Thanks so much for coming in, man.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
My pleasure.
I like your set. Your set's very zen.
Oh yeah, we gotta keep it.
Glass of water, a shrub, a pitcher of water, and there you have it. I like it.
And tell me about what's going on with you over there.
Oh, nothing much. We're just living life as usual.
Okay, but it looks like you're on land. You still doing the boat thing? What's happening?
No. Okay, so I don't know how far you have kept up, but in July, after we were booted out of Cuba, we motored into. It took 4.5 days at sea. We went to the Dominican Republic. As soon as we got there, we were surrounded by soldiers. We're not allowed to talk to customs nor immigration. We had all of our weapons laid out on the table, ready for customs. They charged us with bringing weapons into the Dominican Republic without declaring them. So this is a setup by the same people who've been chasing us from the Bahamas to Cuba, from Cuba to the Dominican Republic, and now to parts unknown. We are no longer on our boat. After we got out of jail in the Dominican Republic, they tried to ship us back to America.
Right.
But through legal proceedings, we managed to get shipped to England, which is where I wanted to go. Then we went underground. That was almost 5 months ago, and we've been underground ever since.
Okay.
I'm in a Faraday cage right now, communicating, or communication Zoom. It's in a Faraday cage, so no signals can leave this room and be detected outside of it. We carry no phones. We don't even have phones anymore. So we carry no electronic devices with us outside this room.
It sounds stressful, man. I mean, how do you cope with having to have so many considerations just to live like that?
This has been my life for the past 25 years. It's just normal. And Janice has been with me for 7 years now. And at first, it was, I think, fairly freaky for her. And now she's in the back. Janice, are you living a comfortable life?
She won't even respond.
She's not there. Oh, I know where she's out. So.
Okay.
But
well, John,
case, no, you get comfortable with anything in life. Good God. This is what human nature is. We're flexible.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Can we just back up a little bit? I mean, you talked about being in the Dominican, but can you sort of break down what pushed you onto the boat and that sort of pirate lifestyle you were living for a while in the first place?
Well, I mean, okay, I haven't paid income taxes for 10 years. Neither will I ever again. I believe that income taxes are illegal, certainly unconstitutional, for Christ's sakes. They have returned us to a feudal society where in the feudal society, the king would send his emissaries out once a year and say, oh, okay, you grew 1,000 potatoes. I'm taking 250 of those. Thank you very much.
Right.
Because the king owns you. And what's the difference? You're working 3 to 4 months a year, people, for someone who, or they, what is it? They're giving you nothing. They own you. That's why they're taking it. You're slaves. You become slaves. So anyway, I haven't paid for 10 years.
Right.
For the first 8 years, they did nothing. Listen, I paid over $50 million in taxes in my life. I think, please God, I have paid enough.
Yeah.
And they just left me alone. When I, however, started getting on the national stage and international stage in the blockchain world, talking about how privacy coins and cryptocurrency can free you from financial control completely. Don't need banks anymore. Don't need the Fed. And you don't need to pay income taxes because the government will never know what you have or what you did with your money. We're all using privacy coins in the crypto world. Then they got pissed off. All right. We noticed people were following us. We noticed, but Janice and I are both fairly street smart,
Right.
For almost a year. And then I found out through the grapevine that the IRS was intending to convene a grand jury on the 22nd of January of this year to charge Janice and I with unspecified income tax fraud. So we left the country with our entire staff on our yacht, which was berthed in Miami at the time, and went to the Bahamas. We have all the documentation. We've published the documentation on Twitter at least twice to prove that, no, we're not making any of this shit up. Okay. It shows the date. This came from two sources: my lawyer in the state of Tennessee, who was subpoenaed, who quote, accidentally, in sending me a packet of information, sent me that a grand jury before it was convened, and a business partner in New York who was also subpoenaed. Now, these people were supposed to keep quiet because grand juries are secret. But I found out in advance. We went to the Bahamas. Why the Bahamas? They have no income tax. And therefore, I cannot be extradited for a crime that is not a crime in the country giving me up.
Of course.
So, however, we heard in late May, thank God, that the CIA had been working with a gentleman named Paul Roll, the Commissioner of Police in the Bahamas, and by the way, the most corrupt official on this planet, to actually forcibly kidnap. Wouldn't be kidnapping. The guy would be arrested by Mr. Roll for some crime and then turned over to America. All right. So we left just before that happened. But before it happened, I outed Mr. Roll. I published his private bank account name and number and the bank, and detailed the deposits and receipts into that account that totaled 10 times this man's salary.
Right.
A year. They came for us that night right after I called the newspapers. We timed this, I timed it, unfortunately, too late. Not too late, but almost. We escaped just before they came to get us, went to Cuba. The next day, by the way, Paul Roll goes into the newspapers and say, I am suing Mr. McAfee for defamation of character. Okay. He's an angry motherfucker. but they have to serve me first, do they not?
Right.
Well, nobody knows where I am, but this is another thing. We went to Cuba. We were there for a month and a half. Janice and I received an order to report to the specific location the following day at 2:00. We went, we sat down. A Cuban general came in and said, Mr. McAfee, with an interpreter, a beautiful young lady, saying, Mr. McAfee, the United States government has requested that we return you to America. Now, it was not the U.S. government, because the U.S. government has no diplomatic relations with Cuba. I mean, I read underlined, it's the CIA that operates everywhere, and everybody knows. They had requested, said, but we're disinclined to do that. We're giving you 72 hours to leave the country and never return. So I'm going, whoa. There is a God. I mean, they could have just collected me on the spot in order to say, here, I know you're pissed at us right now, because that was right in the middle of that crisis that happened earlier this year.
Yeah.
There were U.S. warships off the coast and really, nasty shit. So they could have just grabbed me and said, here, we'll give you Miss McAfee, go away. But no, those people are a proud bunch of people. They seriously are. And will not bow to the unnatural pressure of the international arm of America.
Right.
Not doing it. So we left, man. We went to the Dominican Republic, and I just told you what happened there. We pulled into port and were surrounded by soldiers.
Right.
Not allowed to talk to customs. Arrested us, charged us with a failure to declare weapons coming into the country. Well, we couldn't declare them. They wouldn't let us talk to customs.
You weren't there yet.
We weren't there. Managed somehow to get a lawyer, and they were told to keep lawyers away from me. But these two like ambulance chasing lawyers.
Yeah.
And it's to get to me. I signed a form, and from that moment, the world changed. I have lawyers representing me now. Well, they have broken every fucking law, both internally and in the national law community, by refusing to let us talk to customs first, because if what happens is, hey, whoa, you're trying to bring weapons in, we're confiscating them. They don't arrest you. You declare what you got. And they go, oh, I'm sorry. In this country, we don't allow marijuana. Or in this country, like Saudi Arabia, we don't allow alcohol. People make mistakes. People don't fucking know. So when you come into a country, that's customs and immigration's job to ensure that you do understand our laws. You're coming into our country, and you may not possess certain things in our country. And if you have them, you either have to keep them on the boat, which is what most countries do, or we're taking them and we'll return them afterwards. Or in corrupt countries, we're just fucking taking them. Please enjoy the Dominican Republic, right? No, instead, man, we were arrested, and it was a battle. On the fourth day, they let us out of jail, took us to the head of the immigration and said, Mr. McAfee, we are sending you back to America. And I go, I don't want to go back to America. He goes, well, we don't have any choice. And I go, choice? International law says you must return me to the country I fucking came from. I have papers here saying I came from Cuba.
Right.
Send me back there, or to a country of my choice. I'm choosing England. And I pulled out a British passport. I have the dual citizenship. Pulled out a British passport, slapped it on the table. He takes it, looks at it, and says very sorrowfully to me, Mr. McAfee, I'm afraid this is very, very complicated, but you're going back to America. And this was, and it's a long story. That's how I got out of that in a 4-hour period. But we ended up in England within 10 hours. Thank God. And from there, we have gone underground. I'm sick of this shit for a while, at least. I mean, I don't mind running from country to country. I see a lot of the world that way.
Right.
But, Janice and I both want some peace and quiet. So we went underground. And trust me, if John fucking McAfee wants to go underground, you will not find him. Thus the Faraday cage.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving anything up to chance. You cannot find me electronically. And unfortunately, you motherfuckers in the CIA and the FBI and others, you've forgotten how to do real tradecraft. Everything is electronic for you people now.
Yeah.
Now see, in a world where I am the goddamn master of security, which means I am the master of people trying to get into other people's shit. That if my life is depending on it, I promise you people, I don't care what technology you think you have, I won't be found until, or unless, I want to be found.
It's so interesting because, on one hand, you're underground, and on the other hand, you're launching a presidential campaign for 2020 offshore.
Yeah,
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
See, this is the beauty of our current age of the internet and social media. And I don't have to be anywhere specifically to run for president. Check the laws. I have to be there to run the country. And I can't also be the prime minister of England, which is an option for me to run for. So, no, I can run from anywhere. For debates, I can show up electronically. How many times you see that these days? Always. Big ass convention. What's the first thing? They got a big ass screen for those people who could not quite make it. Well, I'm one of those people. As I'm running a business, I created the first true digital, the true distributed exchange in the blockchain world.
The McAfee DEX, right? The McAfee DEX.
McAfee DEX. Yeah. And it's true distributed, true decentralized. We got no fucking control over anything. We don't even know who you are when you use our service. We don't ask you for anything. No email.
So no custody, no AML, nothing like that.
Nothing. And we keep no records other than what is kept on the blockchain, which is open for everyone. And if you're using privacy coins, well, I'm very sorry. I can't tell you who these people are. Nobody can, and My apologies for creating this thing in the first place.
Yeah.
But it can't be stopped because it's on the blockchain in the logic of smart contracts. Isn't that a great application of the blockchain to build something anti-government that governments can never shut down? This was it for me. This one thing was what my life was about. If I'm looking back on it now, because what I have done now is nothing compared to what the entire world is doing. And even if you just look at that tiny slice of me, this tiny assistance in the reach or search for freedom, good God, that's been the greatest thing I could ever have imagined. McAfee, associates, and everything else I have done is just trivial shit that people do over and over and over. And this is it for me. And
Yeah, I mean, I know you've called blockchain really the only important technological advance in the last century.
That has come from the people.
Yeah.
All right. We've had some seriously important technological advances in the past century, not least of which is the atomic bomb.
Right.
Saying they're good, but Jesus, that's an advancement in one direction.
It's technology, yeah, sure.
But all of these technologies have come from where? Inside secret government programs, or
right.
within General Electric or IBM or Microsoft or Samsung. People have developed nothing that was theirs until the blockchain, which was created by not some internal valve of the government, but by some geeky developers who had a great idea, created it, and then gave it to the world through completely open source. Good God, it's ours now, people. Do you understand?
It's a beautiful thing.
The most powerful technology to come along, certainly in the past 50 years, is in our hands. Governments have already taken it to put it in their hands and let them do so. They cannot steal from us because we all have it.
Yeah.
You can copy it, please, but we don't have to use what they create with it if we stay with our own and what we as the people have created. This is what I am sure Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin, John Hancock, and the rest must have had in their mind, not cryptocurrency, but no, at some point, not having to have a protectorate between us and our government, because our government will finally have become its intent, which is to be our servant,
right,
not our master.
Right.
Not our master.
But what sort of pushback do you think we're going to see on that front? I mean, transparency in government. I mean, that's pretty much the antithesis of what, any power that be is looking to welcome.
Well, I mean, it's happening now, people. India's considering criminalizing possession of or use of cryptocurrencies in any form. China 2 years ago banned all exchanges in China overnight and shut down the centralized exchanges. That's always been our weak point, which is why I did the decentralized exchange. We have to have it. Now, is it useful now? Fuck no, we're in beta version. We only have 2 blockchains. We support Ethereum and Tron, and that's it. We're adding more. We have no cross-chain transactions yet, so we're still in beta. But when it comes out in the second quarter of next year, it will have full cross-chain capability and every single chain. Now, that is something truly valuable to the people in their pursuit of freedom through cryptocurrency. Not that cryptocurrency is our only chance. I mean, the biggest opportunity that we have, and the biggest tool is just ourselves and our relationship to the world. If we change that just a little and realize that we've got to get off the goddamn sofa, people. I mean, you will not change the world by watching television.
Right.
You must get up. You must do something. You must take action. more than simply getting up, going to the refrigerator and getting another beer. That's not the action. The action,
Yeah.
the action is changing your life to some degree for some amount of time for something of great importance to you.
Yeah, and I mean, what do you think about, we've seen such an uptick in recent protests. Hong Kong comes to mind, these kind of things. What do you think about globally? Do you see citizenry being activated? We got France, we got, what do you think?
Well, first of all, now that we're taking a more global view of reality in America, we're actually paying attention. This is always happening somewhere in the world, right? Thank God. Because the spirit of freedom just doesn't sit still over this globe alone, ever. It's always alive somewhere. And some places that the fire is more intense than others. I wish, by the way, that American citizens had the wherewithal to collect themselves to the point that they will wear raincoats and put gas masks on and all buy umbrellas to avoid the canisters hitting you in the head. And march through tear gas so thick you can't see your hand in protest of your perception of a loss of liberty. With God, if the people in Hong Kong are doing that, please look at how much more enslaved we are here in America. Please, people.
What do you mean by that exactly? Can you expand?
By which part?
Well, just that the Americans are much more enslaved than those in Hong Kong.
Well, having been in Hong Kong just over a year ago, in Hong Kong, but it has as much technology, if not more, than any place in America. Every coffee shop I walked into, people were fucking talking to each other. I never saw people walking down the street on the phone.
Okay.
Looking at the phone. You tell me which one is more enslaved, my friend.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, I mean,
the slavery is not, by the way, the phone. See this. The only difference is life is so free in places like Hong Kong that why would you lose yourself in a telephone when the reality around you is the Garden of Eden?
Right.
And any encroachment on that garden is met with violence from the people living in the garden. Not violence against, but violence for defense against those who are living outside of paradise. And so in that world, which you try to, because really, why are you on social media? Because you're trying to escape something.
Yeah.
You're trying to escape your wife's conversation, which you've been with now for 7 years, and it happens to be the magic number when all the love seems to have gone, and all that's left is habit and discomfort. You can escape that shit. You have a smartphone, or a laptop, or a pad. Yeah, of course you want to escape. The reason you want to escape is that every choice in your life has been made for you rather than by you. Because if any choice you make in fear is a choice not made by you, it's made by your environment and your relationship to it. And where are we going with this? Well, I can't remember.
Hey,
you asked a question. Why are we different? Yes,
I'm just along for the ride, man. It's I'm learning a lot here. This is great.
Oh God, I hope not, because I'm not trying to teach. I'm trying.
No, but you've got such a.
I'm trying to just to show my perspective on my.
Well, that's what I mean. That's
reality.
what I mean. John, can I ask you, when you talk about freedom, what do you mean by freedom? What does it mean to you?
Well, it means that you may be yourself without fear. Now, let me give you some examples which I know you will all relate to about what freedom is not. Because if you truly look at your life, get up in the morning on Monday, I'll tell you my life. I get up in the morning on Monday when I was at McAfee, for example.
Yeah.
I could not wait to get to work. Not for the money, not because I loved what I fucking did. And after 3 or 4 years of loving it, the company grew from a tiny thing which I knew all of the names and the developers and we were loving and having fun to something with thousands of people. And my day was spent with boards of directors meetings and stockholders and personnel problems and blah, blah, blah. No. What did I walked away. I realized, oh, fuck, I don't love this anymore. I simply walked away. It didn't hurt the company any, so it doesn't say much about my talents. But if you don't wake up every morning and go, I can't wait to get to work, as well as I can't wait to get home, both of your lives you love, then you're not free, people. Neither did you make that decision from the truth of your being, the decision to take that job or to stay with that job. But you chose to stay with that job, not because it's what you actually were. Meaning, no, I'm not happy here. Why the fuck am I doing it? Right? It's like, you're standing in the corner, beating yourself in the head. Whoa, can I help you? No. No, why are you beating yourself in the head? Well, I've been doing it so long, I'm afraid to stop. What if I don't have an income? What if I starve? Oh my God. Nobody starves in America in today's world.
Right. Hang
out behind the McDonald's. All right. 1,000 pounds of edible food is thrown away every goddamn day. So now, you don't starve and you don't end up on the street. Because if you have half a brain and only one hand with an opposable thumb and fingers, you can get a job, you will survive, and you will find something that you love to do. Not do in order to get money so that you can do something you love. See the insanity. Slavery is a condition of insanity, of not trying every second of every day to escape your prison and make that your only life goal.
Yeah, that's heavy stuff, man.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize.
No, please. I love it, man. I mean, okay, so how does it look for you then? Do you think you'll be able to get there? Do you think you'll be able to outrun these guys or settle something, or are you going to keep sort of poking the bear a little bit?
Sir, I have gone so far beyond the point of no return that there is no hope of reconciliation ever between myself and the corruption within the United States government, the government that allegedly is caring for the country that I love, the country that I was raised in, went to grade school in, kissed my first girl, and played baseball and had fun in the woods, building tree houses and forts. Got my first job, had my first child. Yes, I love this country, America. I hate the corrupt entity that has taken control of it. And it is our fault, people. There's one simple solution. People laugh about it, drain the swamp. I'm sorry, that is the only hope.
Yeah.
Vote every incumbent out. Make it a principle, if you do vote, that you will only vote for people who have never held political office. And when the opposition goes, what, you're losing all the experience?
Yeah.
Here's your answer. Two things. The experience they do have is the experience in lining their pockets with your money, experience in weaving lies of such complexity that you would think no one would believe them, and yet they make us believe them. This is the magical experience that our politicians have. As to what power they really have, that's a very different story. And people, if we filled every presidential high level position, every cabinet seat, every congressman, every senator, we would not know the difference for at least 6 months.
Mm.
And number two, when we did notice the difference, I promise you that difference would be a relief, because a government that's filled with derelicts will take a dozen years to even think about such a thing as corruption. Taking 10 years to understand their jobs.
Yeah,
Which
no
is,
kidding.
no, but please, people, see this now. When we created our government, the world was a tiny place, and America could be traveled, from one side to the other if we had modern day jets in 45 minutes. And the governing of that nation has been, up until the past 100 years, I think, a spectacular constitutional innovation. We need some amendments, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Amendments that come from the people and not from the congressmen and senators and presidents who wish to further line their pockets by further crippling our Constitution. No, we need amendments that people like Thomas Jefferson were anticipating, where society had reached such a point that in the mind of the people at the time, it would be incomprehensible and therefore impossible for them to put into a constitution. But at least the common sense to, you may amend this as the world changes. And the amendment we need now is that the government, amendment, whatever, the government will return to the people where it should in fact belong. And those who feel that their position gives them power were certainly the wrong people to put in there.
Yeah.
To put people into power who are willing to pay $10 million or more in order to get that position. Should be common sense. No, that's rule number one. Dude, you're spending money to get there. Not happening. Do you understand the insanity that we as people have simply ignored? What's happened so slowly that we just think, oh, this is how life is. No, this is not anymore.
So I got to ask, John, is there anyone, I mean, in the race now that you think is even partially salvageable? I mean, what about Tulsi Gabbard? You checked her out at all, or Bernie Sanders? I mean, any of these guys? Is there anything there?
If we're going to talk personalities, we're going to have to bring the conversation down to a far grosser level, which to me is uninteresting.
Okay.
I don't give a shit who the president is. I think I just made that clear.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Neither should you. Do you actually think presidents have any power whatsoever which is not granted to them?
Yeah, of course not. Of course not.
The information flow provided by the CIA. Because that's what controls America, information flow. The information we feed to a president, true or false, will be the motivating factor for what it is we need.
Right.
Prior to the Gulf War, the CIA was perturbed about the growth of Iraqi power in the region, and it went against whatever weird plans they had for that region. So they sit back and go, yeah, well, what are we going to do? I mean, if we assassinate the motherfucker, which we can do, just replace him and it'll get worse. We don't have to bomb the shit out of it. And they go, and at the higher level, somebody goes, oh, fuck, okay, I'm approving war with Iraq. Okay, you guys carry it out. How do they carry it out? Mr. President, we have discovered with absolute certainty, 100% certainty, Mr. President, that the Iraqis are now capable of delivering a nuclear device to allies as far away as Britain from Iraq, our closest ally, with missile capability. And further, Mr. President, I regret to tell you, they have nuclear weapons. Now, Mr. President, this is your decision. We do not want to advise you on what you should do. Knowing, of course, there's only one goddamn thing to do.
Yeah.
Bomb them into oblivion, which is what actually happened. And were there any nuclear devices? Were there weapons of mass? No. We all knew it. The public knew it. Everybody knew it. Everybody in the CIA, all the covert forces in America knew it. But did the president and Congress know it? Of course not, because they were told the inside truth. They knew the truth in spite of people going, what? Have you lost your minds? No, they're there. You're crazy. No, they're there. Of course, they're there because the CIA said they were there. And notice another thing. Who was the first president to warn us of the CIA? Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Right, yeah.
Not long after Dwight D. Eisenhower, John Kennedy decided that, whoa, Eisenhower was way right.
Yeah.
I got to kill these motherfuckers. We do not need a CIA, not with the other 14 covert agencies that we fucking have. And unfortunately, before he could do that, he was randomly shot. Now, the CIA had at that time capabilities to make the president die and make it look like an accident.
Yeah, they had that heart attack gun or something, right?
But they had everything, for fuck's sake. So he could have died and no one could have pointed a finger, but no. No one have even thought. No, they wanted it publicly done as a message to all future presidents. Listen, do not fuck with us, people. We will simply whack you. That message went to every president, every congressman, and every person of a level of understanding that knew what was really happening. And people go, whoa. Unfortunately, John Kennedy had a brother with more balls than God knows what. And that brother with fucking balls, Bobby Kennedy, came on immediately. I'm going to run for president, and you motherfuckers, you killed my brother. I'm coming to kill you. Well, the CIA, they go, don't even let him fucking try. Move on. What happened? He was whacked. Yeah. What happened next? Nixon. Now, Nixon was a clever dude and knew far better than to go, I'm going to disable you or harm you, but merely said, please, presidents need more valid information from you. We need access to certain things. And they said, nope, go away. But he kept on it because that was his thing. I'm at least going to get them to cooperate with the presidency. Can't I at least appear to have some fucking power? And what happened is he was so insistent that a magical event occurred. There was a setup, and it appeared that agents of Nixon had broken into a Democratic office, and and what happened? Yeah. He was simply forced to resign. Now, what message did they send there? Look, people, we're decent human beings. We're not out to harm anybody. We could have just whacked him. Listen, it was far more troublesome to set this shit up so that we could let him go humanely than to whack him. But please, will you all notice, we don't even want to be bothered anymore. Do not fucking annoy us. Now, am I a conspiracy theorist? Sure, because that's a conspiracy. Is there any valid reason to believe any of this? Only history and current events.
Yeah.
Are these evil people? Fuck no. They're patriots. As patriotic as me, I am sure. I mean, good God, they give their lifetime to the service of their nation. No, they are not evil. They believe in keeping everything within the bounds of the nation's interest.
Right.
They're just crazy. They're just insane. They're like a benign Dr. Evil, right? who just
Yeah.
convince themselves that, hey, presidents come in for 4 years. Oh, by the way,
Right.
you know what the CIA calls presidents? Transients and congressmen.
Yeah,
Why?
sure.
They're there for 4 years. You can't possibly brief a president in 4 years on all the information that he thinks he needs. So when the president says, do we have aliens?
Right.
What
Yeah.
do you think? No, no. What do you think the answer is? The lawful answer, Mr. President. Um, we have thought about this and determined that you do not have a need to know. That trumps any presidential power you can possibly imagine. Do you
Yeah.
people understand how this works? The CIA in the 60s invented the concept. No longer was it just security. Oh, the guy's got a top secret clearance, give him what he needs. No, no. This guy wants this information. I don't want him to have it. Don't have a need to know. That's all you gotta fucking say. That is within the CIA structure, the legal and lawful mechanism for refusing to tell people anything. And please, it has to work that way. In truth, it's just that we must have veto power over their the no veto, because they can't be the top veto in our country because they then become the top power. There's
Right.
nothing more powerful than the veto. You can work for 10 years on a bill and the entire country supports it and it is voted in by 100% of the population. You go, yeah, veto.
Yeah.
There is no higher power, and the CIA has that veto power. It must be returned, not to the fucking president or to Congress, but to the fucking people. We must be the veto on what we think we should know. Do you understand this?
Yeah. I mean, where do you trace this back to? Like the sort of unfettered power of the CIA? I mean, 47, 49, we see that, they don't have to report their expenses anymore. Earlier than that, what do you see?
I seriously have not dug into the history as perhaps I should have. My information comes from the fact that the CIA was one of my first customers.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was the only computer security company of any size, certainly,
Right,
or any
right.
name. Of course, the CIA, every single covert agency and every single government body was my customer. CIA was one of the biggest. So over the years, I made friends, not many, and you never know in the CIA anyway. Are they friends? Who fucking knows? And still speak at least once a week with some. This is
Okay.
where I get my information from my history with them as a business person, from my one job in a black program while I was at Lockheed Corporation,
Oh,
and worked on a CIA program. By the way, black programs are the finest in the world. I'm telling you now, you don't have to say shit. I mean, because Lockheed paid me, and yet
yeah.
Lockheed had no clue what I was doing, where I was, what I was working, whether I was doing a good job. No information could pass back and forth. None whatsoever. Why? Top secret. Can't even know if Mr. McAfee's wearing a t-shirt today. You may not say that. Why? Someone might infer something. Who fucking knows?
Okay.
So basically, I just fucked around on the black. I mean, I did my job like always, but I seldom came into work. I mean, I seldom come into work at any job except jobs that I create myself, like
Right.
McAfee and so on. And got the maximum raise from Lockheed because that's what the law says, because since they don't really know, anything less than maximum might be unjust. See, I love our government socialistic attitude sometimes. So my apologies, I'm off on the rant again.
No, not at all. Can I ask, John? I mean, so how does that process work? I mean, you're at you created your business there, and then just one day there's a knock on the door, a guy in a suit. How does it work with the CIA to come to getting the CIA on as a client of yours?
Well, I was the only person they could go to. I mean, McAfee Services was the first antivirus product.
Yeah.
And therefore the first true computer. We had no such thing as computer security before. And there was some crude, no one gave a shit We didn't have hackers, all right?
Yeah.
The advent of the computer virus, the invention of the computer virus was the creation or the germination of the current hacker world. So the CIA, what are they into? Knowledge, finding things, breaking into things. What's my business? Preventing people from breaking into things, protecting people. So in order for me to do that, I must be better than them at what they do. And I was a thriving business, so I was better at them. I was better at knowing how they work, what their weaknesses are, and how to exploit them so that they could not spy on fucking people, okay? Who are you going to hire? Your worst fucking enemy, if you can.
And do you think that's still the case these days? Do you think private industry still outpaces the government in terms of internet security? No, not at all.
No. Well, hang on. When you say private industry outpaces government, let me tell you something. It was not long before, because the reason that I was ahead of the hacking world, even the government spying world, was because no one before had ever considered the concept of a program replicating itself and moving from one computer to another, just like a living fucking bacteria or virus. No one had thought of that. So within the CIA, they didn't have a branch, all right? Before it actually came to their awareness, I'd been in the business for 6 months, and I knew every fucking thing. Who are you going to go to?
Yeah.
A staff that you do not have, or an outside agency? And in the outside agency, at least I had a top secret clearance for the black program I had worked on Lockheed. So right off the bat, they go, okay, dude, he can't be blackmailed. That's all the top secret clearance really says. Can't be blackmailed. End of story. Can't be pushed. In fact, when I was at Lockheed, I was suggested as a candidate for this specific black program I was working on in a different state, which I still cannot talk about, other than say that people did not hear about it until 20 years after it had been out and in use. That's how deep it goes. So in any case, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Oh no, it's just private industry outpacing government.
Okay, yeah, no. Yeah. So now, I outpaced them for no more than a year.
Okay.
Until their infinite resources, because it doesn't matter how smart you are, if someone's got $1 billion and they're intending to outdo you technologically, they will do it. No matter how smart you are not smarter than 1,000 smart people.
Yeah.
It cannot happen. So no, it was only for, however, by that time I had already established my relationships, and it's still, in terms of any one person, I was still the go-to guy. So that was my life. And I was working 18 hours a day at it, 7 days a week for 2.5 years. So trust me, there was no one who knew more about it than me, no one person, and no one person more capable of solving the problem. So in any case, that's why people say, well, why would you do it? I don't know. Why did they choose me originally for the black program? Let me tell you, to get that that clearance, I had to go through some really strange interviews.
Yeah.
Mr. McAfee, have you ever had sex with a man? Mr. McAfee. Certainly not that I can remember.
This was before, of course, your famous whale encounter, I guess.
Oh no, good God! This is back in 1985.
Okay.
No, it's 1985. Good God Almighty! I'm talking about. So I'm still working for Lockheed.
Yeah. Okay.
And they are considering me for this black program, but you can't get in unless you can get a security clearance, which they say are the hardest things in the world. So anyway, so these questions like, have you ever taken any illegal drugs? Yes, sir. What? Everything, I think, unless you can name something I haven't or haven't heard of. Have you ever sold drugs? Yes. What did you sell? Everything. that I knew about at the time. No, because I was just, listen, you can't lie to these people. No,
Right.
before they even get in there, I promise you, because they schedule these things weeks after they determine they want to test you, right? So you know by the time you walk in that they know the first time you farted in front of your mother. So it's all over. Have you ever cheated on your wife? Yes, sir. You've been married 3 times. Have you cheated on all of them? Yes, sir. More than once, actually, and with one of them as much as possible. So I went back to my boss and I said, I did not know this. I didn't know what this is about. I thought they were going to ask me what my feelings about communism were.
Right.
I said, listen, we're fucked. I'm not going to get to go. And that was it. So 2 weeks later, I'm called into the office. Your security clearance came through.
Wow.
I'm going, good God, someone fucked up somewhere. But no, they afterwards determined, I don't know, it'd be kind of hard to blackmail this motherfucker. Well, then, I mean, we asked him every sordid detail of his life, and he just never hesitated. So because that's all they want. Because it does not matter what your intent is or your loves are. If someone blackmails you, sometimes you just simply can't tolerate the results of what might happen, and you say, okay, how much? What do you want me to do? That's it. I don't know why. I just made that up in my head. I did go through the test. I did get the clearance. As to why, I'm merely assuming it might be something totally different.
Yeah. Crazy, man. Hey, I want to jump ahead, John. I saw today you tweeted something interesting about optical data transfer.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, hang on. Listen, I have had optical data transfer systems in my properties before, when they were small properties. And what's beautiful about them is they don't radiate anything. And you can stand a half an inch away from it as long as you don't block the beam.
Yeah.
You don't know anything's happening. You have to be in the line of sight in order to catch the signal. And if you're in the line of sight, you're blocking the signals. Yeah. And so the transfer protocol will cease within a few thousand bytes, and you're going to end up with nothing, right? So impossible with our current technology. I'm not saying forever. Impossible for anyone to surveil an optical communication system. Now, what's been the problem with them? Why don't we all have them constantly? Because when it rains, usually doesn't work.
Okay.
If the fog is sufficiently thick, or there's a cloud in the middle, from one mountaintop to another, it isn't going to work. If you got a high fucking wind, the air is turbulent, it isn't going to work. So it's not practical. However, the Russians, God bless their souls, have come up with the technique to do optical data transmission that is impervious to weather and wind conditions.
Okay.
Now we're talking, people. Because do you realize if we all had a mesh network, I don't know if you know what that is, it's where you start local. People locally are communicating through some manner or transferring data of any kind in some manner. And these local mesh networks are connected to higher mesh networks until finally everybody in the world communicates to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had one of these things for ourselves, you realize there would be no government surveillance other than sitting outside your home with a stethoscope to the window going, I don't know, I can't hear what he's saying.
Right.
Because you can't surveil it. It makes government surveillance a thing of the past. Jesus God, I can't wait for this to be a reality. Now, the technology is reality, and they have working prototypes. That's all I'm asking for now. And to live long enough to see it in practice as a tool of freedom rather than as a tool of the government.
Well, that brings me to our next question, man. I mean, you look like you're in great condition, great shape. Can you walk me through what's your supplementation regimen? What kind of, are you taking like HGH or any sort of life extension drugs, anything like that? What are you turned on to these days?
Well, I think, most of my supplements are, and I'm very rigorous about this. I try not to miss, are I wake up in the morning, quarter bottle of scotch.
Okay.
I smoke a few cigarettes out on the balcony. I have one of my staff roll me a J, and I smoke that spliff out on the balcony, and then I wander into work. Where usually there's a bottle of wine. Right now we have grappa. For those of you who are grappa people,
Beautiful.
this will knock you on your ass faster than a moving train. So, and you can see it was up to here when I walked in here this morning. So now,
Okay.
Another few cigarettes. I've cut down from 3 packs a day to certainly less than 2 on the cigarettes because it makes me cough a lot. But I've compensated by increasing my alcohol intake. I'm not recommending this to people.
Of course.
People ask, what is it in your life that made you this way? And I'm thinking, what is the one constant from the age of 12 that I have religiously adhered to? And that's alcohol and drugs, including cigarettes. So I can only think that's it.
Sounds like you and Ozzy Osbourne might share some DNA or something.
I don't know. I have no clue. I'm just doing what my body says it wants. My body says, you know what, dudes, it needs more booze.
Yeah.
Buy more booze and drink more. Until the body says, you know what, feels like enough right now. Why don't you switch to weed?
Yeah.
Or something.
And then speaking of weed, you got your own strain coming out. Is that right?
I do. I had a bud right here somewhere. Yes, I got my own strain coming out.
What's it? Dark Minge or something, right?
Dank Minge.
Dank Minge.
Yes, please. Not dark minge. I don't think I'd want to taste dark.
Dank Minge. Okay, cool, man. Yeah. And what made you want to get into the marijuana game?
Friends of mine have urged me to slap my name on some decently tolerable weed, and so that's what I did.
That makes sense. So, man, you got the McAfee Dex is out. You're focusing on that. You got the weed strain. What else are you working on these days, man?
Well, right now it's just the Dex and all of the ancillary applications that we're looking at based on the Dex. We're trying to make it fun too. I mean, we're coming out with a flip a coin. If you've got they've got 10,000 of the whacked tokens, right? Which we've distributed 700 million a while back. And flip a coin. We're going to wipe you out for double what you have. Right?
Yeah.
So, again, the whacked. You're going to get whacked, maybe. You want to do a 50-50, doubling, or we're getting whacked. And so we're taking the coins. And since they're on the exchange, you can, in fact, exchange these motherfuckers for Ethereum, although I think it's only a millionth of a penny or something.
Okay. Yeah.
I have never even looked because it's a joke coin, right?
Right.
And since you can exchange it with Ethereum, we're adding, what if you happen to have an Ethereum wallet, you can flip a coin on that fucker. We'd be happy to whack that for you too.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So the option, and the source for this thing, obviously, we're making it open source, so people can go through. Are you trying to cheat people? Fuck no. We're trying to make people have some fun.
Yeah.
So if you have an Ethereum wallet, you want to bet Ethereum. Let's say you're at a bar late at night. Good God, and you're paying with your Ethereum. I've only got $20 left, and I've got 6 friends. It ain't going to last around. Hey, let's either whack this 20 or let's double it so we can get another round of beers. I mean, it's shit like this that I think will appeal to people and keep them focused on freedom. Why? Because in a country where people are literally being whacked openly and covered up by our government, then please, people, we are not free. And if we do not have decentralized exchanges, which I have given you, people, and if they are not truly decentralized and truly distributed, then they will be shut down by governments when governments understand the growing power that is now being sown and it's germinating among the people.
Yeah. Speaking of, I mean, what do you think? Do you think this Libra thing's going to happen? Do you think they'll be able to beat the regulators and get it moving? The Facebook coin?
I could care less, because Libra is nothing more than what governments will be producing very soon for themselves. China's already doing it. Okay. The crypto yuan, their own cryptocurrency. America will do it within 2 years. I promise you, it'll be the crypto dollar, and so will every country and every corporation. All right. It'll begin to be corporations and governments, but only if we buy into it.
Right.
With all other technologies, we had no choice. We had to do what we were told. You must use our cryptocurrency or else you will starve. No, we will not. We have our own people's currencies. Ethereum, Monero, Bitcoin. Good God, people, this is ours. This is our power. Do you understand? We can escape into this, because right now, people, there's nothing you cannot buy with Ethereum, Monero, or Bitcoin. Nothing in this world. Houses, cars, clothes, shoes, bulletproof vests, pussy. All.
I mean, you've said famously that's going to be the adoption maker right there. If we get the prostitutes only accepting crypto, right?
Of course. So think about it. But this cannot happen unless we stop the madness happening now. We've taken this golden key that we just unlock our cage with, leave, and instead people are going, whoa, if you bang the key on the doorknob, it makes a really pleasant sound. Let's just bang this, because that's what you're doing when you take cryptocurrencies and make them exclusively an opportunity to get rich through trading. Because if in fact that currency is not used, and by many, and not growing, then you're investing in nothing. You're investing in nothing without the currency's utility and use. Use these things. Use them, people.
And who do you think's doing the best in that arena? Do you like what Roger Vere's doing on the Bitcoin Cash angle? He's really pushing the utility. What do you think the best community sort of in that angle is?
Obviously, the best people for pushing the adoption would be Roger Ver, Jihan Wu, Brock Pierce, myself, my wife, to name a few.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, who's the most fun to hang out with of those guys besides your wife?
Brock Pierce.
Yeah,
everybody would say that who's hung out with Brock. I mean, listen, I've always considered myself a relatively higher level party man. Right?
Yeah.
If someone walks through the door with Sheep, the boa constrictor, and 3 sets of Bangkok twin prostitutes, then I don't bat an eye. Okay, listen, I've done this before with Brock. Oh, motherfucking hell!
Really?
No, he takes partying to the next level. I mean, here's an example. I mean, it's pretty severe in terms of mental stuff. He's into mental party. So he invited me to come and speak at his conference in Romania. What's the capital of Romania? Starts with a B.
Something. I don't know.
Whatever. Jesus, God, I can't believe I forgot that. Anyway,
Bucharest, is that right?
To Bucharest. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so he invited us to Bucharest, Janice and I and my staff. I did the thing. Then after it, he invited myself and about 20 and Janice and the staff, about 20 of his other friends, to go visit Dracula's castle.
Oh shit!
So, okay. So he rented this beautiful bus, and he had loudspeakers in it. He had his music selection because he's seriously into music, and is blaring at the highest blast, and people were dancing in the aisles and the ordinary shit. So we get for Dracula's castle. Now, Dracula's castle is one depressing fucking place. I mean, I don't care if you were the happiest person in the world when you're coming out, you're going, oh, is there a rope nearby? I want to hang myself with something to help me, but then everybody else is going, is there a rope? Please kill me. No, it's
it's a feeling, or what happens? Something comes over you. There's
Dracula's castle. It's the torture chambers, and they describe how they put people in these boxes and close them slowly, where they're pierced and their eyes are pierced, and how they put people under a huge plank and slowly pile iron bars on it until their eyeballs burst. I mean, you might feel not exactly happy after that as well.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
But for me, I was sadly depressed that human beings do this to each other. Now, I'd forgotten that I'm with Brock Pierce, and Brock Pierce does not do anything on a whim, right? So it's all mental for Brock. So now, we're now all of us coming out, their heads dragging, and some of the women crying, and some of the men crying, and just because of the human brutality that is possible, all epitomized by Dracula's fucking castle, which is nothing but rooms of torture chambers, each with a different nuance of causing excruciating pain to human beings for as long as possible. So now, this is the state we're all in.
Yeah.
We're back on the bus, total fucking silence. There's no music, total fucking silence. The bus gets on the slow road back to Bucharest. It's a 3-hour drive. Rock comes through, passing out ecstasy to everybody. Now, ecstasy from the mood that we were in.
No kidding, man.
I have never tried that before. But see, Brock is a master at manipulating chemistry and the human brain. So now we're all on ecstasy, and the music starts. But now it's a different kind of fucking music. It's like whoops. Okay, sorry, I apologize for that. Are you still with me?
I'm still here, yeah.
Okay, I don't know what happened. Janice is not here to prevent those things.
Oh no, we're back. We're good.
Okay, so so anyway, so he hands out ecstasy, and we're just taking it, and the music starts. But now it's from musicals, but really strange musicals like Rocky Horror Picture Show, right?
Yeah.
Which oddly enough, everybody on the bus knew the words to. Well, hello there. I see you at my faithful hand. Tim Curry's famous line
of
from
course.
Rocky Horror, and people are singing on the bus, okay? And we think everything is fucking normal. Why? Because we're all in the same state, right? We're dancing and singing, and still somewhere in the darkness of my subconscious is this weight, right? We get off the bus at a equivalent of a service station to pee and get some snacks and what have you. And everybody who saw us shied away in horror. And yet we weren't doing anything. Right. So whatever was happening with this mixture of the worst down you could ever have.
Yeah.
Oops. You gotta plug in again. You see, this is what happens when Janice is not here. I wear sunglasses because I'm in this tinfoil room and the light reflects blindingly. So I've got a shade behind me so you can't see. So in any case, people are just reacting with horror at us. All right. Then we go back and I'm ready for bed. Then he takes us to an underground nightclub in Bucharest, the likes of which I've never seen. And at the end of that night, I'm just thinking, I don't know what's real anymore. That's Brock Pierce. Brock Pierce creates scenarios.
So he's a puppet master with the emotions and stuff.
Yeah, listen, so am I to some extent, but I prefer to play as a puppet to Brock's strings because he's such a master at it. It's much more fun. I never know what's going to happen. Anyway, Brock Pierce, yes.
Brock Pierce is the man. Okay, and you guys see each other.
Party.
Yeah, keeps
I haven't seen Brock for a year and a half. The last time I saw was on the last blockchain cruise. Not this past one, but last year's blockchain cruise.
Yeah.
I talk to him every couple of months. Yeah. He's busy now with a new child, and living in Puerto Rico in a castle with guards and gates to keep the world out. I don't blame him about that.
Yeah.
And just an all-round fun guy. But
That's
he's not for the beginning partier, I will say this.
Gotcha. John, any New Year's resolutions for you, 2020?
Resolution?
Yeah.
I can't remember ever keeping one, so I stopped making them.
What about a Christmas message for the people out there, man? You got anything?
Absolutely. Do only what you love in life, nothing else.
I can't think of a better way to end it. Thanks so much, man.
All
I appreciate your time a lot. I hope to speak to you again sometime. Adios.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Oh, jeez. Hey, now that I got you here, I got to say, check out our latest videos right over here. Everything you need to know. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. See you soon. Until then, namaste.